All right, bro. So we were talking about those the last two deals that you guys got since Sunday. Tell me about them, bro.
Yeah, so man, these were like two really good leads. Actually, they came on Sunday, both of them. Like, most people want to take Sunday off, right? Don't work, and
Mhm.
and it was curious because over the weekend I got, I think, was 5 or 6 leads in total. So as they were coming between Saturday and Sunday, I was debating, okay, do I just let, my guy call all of them on Monday, right? I kind of was doing other things over the weekend, was a little bit busy. So the first one of the two came on Sunday morning, and it was a guy that he seemed motivated because he called right away. And then he sent a text. He said, look, I'm not going to be able to talk to you until later on tonight because I drive a truck during night and I sleep during the day. So can I call you tonight? So I saw the messages. Okay, I'll deal with him on Sunday night, right? So then another lead came in, the second one, and this one was ready to go. Lady called and said, look, Jonathan, I have a situation here. I'm going to tell you straight up what I want and what the other company offered me. It's basically a hoarder situation. I didn't know how bad the situation was with my sister, who was still living in the house a couple of weeks ago, and she basically had to take her out of there. It was a depressing situation. I went to the property on Monday, you know, um, and I couldn't even get into the house. That's how much of accumulation of stuff was being left in the
Wow.
house, probably for, I'm going to say, 15 or 20 years. And that
Oof.
was me just guessing of just trash being inside of the house. And the neighbor confirmed that. They came out and they said, hey, look, are you going to try to buy the house? And I said, yeah, but this is a lot of work. And they said, yeah, man, we got all kind of issues with trash and, mice and rats going to our yard and all of that. So anyway, um, let's go back to the conversation. Sunday night when she called me, said, look, that's the situation. I had another company. They offered $10,000. They said the house had to be demolished, right? And then she kind of just felt offended with that. So I guess she saw one of the ads. She reached out and she basically just engaged right from the conversation. She said, look, I full disclosure, and this was all by text. I got offered $10,000. I'm willing to take 25. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I'm reading those messages, and there's like 5 leads over the weekend, right? That came. And when I read that, he said, okay, I gotta get to work here. Okay. So I got on the phone with her within a few minutes. And I said, okay, tell me a little bit about it. She went through the whole thing. And she said, I'll take 25 for it. I said, okay, I paused for a second. Okay. You always kind of have to think about what somebody's telling you. I'll just take $25,000 for a house. So I said, okay, let me call you back in 20 minutes. I'm going to check this right now on Sunday night, right? So I went, checked the numbers, went into jump in the MLS real quick. And I didn't have to wait 20 minutes to call her back. I called her back within 5 minutes. And I said, okay, I need two things from you. I need your name and the name of your sister. And I need two email addresses where I can send you a contract right now. Right. And I said, yeah. Oh, is that it? 25,000. I said, yeah, I already checked the numbers. I'm expecting the house to be in really bad shape. Okay. But if that's what you're just going to sell it for, I didn't even have to negotiate. I just said, look, I'll send you a contract right now. And can you sign it? Yeah, DocuSign, send it right away. And an hour later, we had a deal. Okay. That's the kind of deal that it was all done on Sunday between 4 and 6 p.m. If I would have waited until Monday morning to have call her and get engaged with her, it would have been gone. Okay. Like somebody else would have taken it. The next company or the next buyer she would have called, it would have been gone, literally. So that was a real, you know, good deal on the number. I didn't have to think much about it. So then on
Yep.
Monday, I go to the house and I said, look, I'll take a look, a quick tomorrow, try to get in. She said, you're not going to be able to get in. That's how much stuff inside. She was right on. I couldn't get in. There was trash from the floor to the ceiling in every single room of the house. So I couldn't get in. So then the neighbor comes out of the property, the one living next door, and he said, look, man, are you going to buy it? And, the lady was like, thank God. We've been having issues with this for like years. And then the husband or the lady living next door comes out, and he said, "Look, I'll buy it from you, Jonathan." Okay. And at that time, we didn't even know what to think of the asking price. And I just went there just to
Okay,
look
who's
and
gonna
assess
buy it
it.
from you? The neighbor?
The neighbor.
What?
The neighbor. Yeah, very easy, simple. So, and I told him, look, I still don't know what I'm going to ask for it, man. But I knew I'm living there, and I knew he wanted it, because for him was like, I need to get rid of the situation here. And I asked him, well, what would you do with it? Would you like to fix it? I said, no, I would just tear the house down and keep the lot, right? So he doesn't have a neighbor, because he's a corner lot. So he won't have a neighbor on either side. So he loves it. So I called him next day, and I said, we work out the price. And I said, look, man, would you take it for this? And I don't go to anybody else. It's yours if you give me this. We negotiated a little bit, and then we went back and forth. I knew he was going to buy it no matter what. I knew it because of what he said the day before. And then we agree on a number. Okay. Basically purchase the house for $25,000. Okay. That's what I got on the contract with the lady and her sister. And he agreed to buy it for 83.
What?
So yeah, 83. All in the span of 48 hours, man. Yeah.
How do you come up with that 83?
We were asking 88, and gonna be asking 77 to the whole, investors and everything. And some people went on there to the property yesterday, and they kind of didn't want to take on the deal because it was just too much work. So we got, like, I don't know, a couple of offers that they were not going to give us the full price. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to call the neighbor. He'll buy. And he said, look, with me, you don't have any problems. I will give you the deposit tomorrow, which he did. He dropped it this morning.
What?
So, man, yeah, it's a done deal. We're closing next week. So
It's unbelievable, man. Oh my
yeah,
God.
so from the time that you got the lead at 4 p.m. on Sunday, this deal was contracted and assigned by Tuesday night, right? And the deposit was placed with the title company today. Yeah.
Wow. How much
And
was it? How much was the deposit?
$7,000. I
7,000.
typically I get a lot of pushback on earnest money deposit, and I like to ask for big earnest money deposit. At least, and this was a small deal, I could ask for less, but in normal deal size, I like to ask for a $10,000 deposit. Throughout the years, I've been doing this for a long time, Carlos, and I get a lot of pushback on that. But I want to see how serious the investor is. And if you're serious about buying the house, okay, you shouldn't have any problem putting 10K as an earnest money deposit, non-refundable.
Yep.
If you want to put a smaller amount of deposit, here in Texas, they want to put $2,000-$3,000 for some deals. And I tell them, no, I want 10. So you got to really push for that, okay? Because anybody can walk away if, for whatever reason, they change their mind after they sign the contract. If you are on the line for 10K, you're going to think about it twice before you walk away from the deal.
Or 3 times.
Exactly. So, but if you only have a deposit for $500 or $1,000, you can walk away any day, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Even if they walk away, you get those 10K.
Yes. So that's why you want to have a decent, sizable earnest money deposit on the deal, because that's what it's going to allow it is something goes wrong. They have a second thought about buying the house because it needs too much work. They talk to the contractor, and the contractor say, no, it's going to cost you this. If away, they lose 10K, but they can walk away from $1,000 or $2,000, right? And then I have a seller that I still got to close, then I got to find somebody else, and I lose all of the other buyers. So I get a lot of pushback on that. And I said, well, if you're serious about it, you shouldn't have any problem putting the 10K, right? And you got to be like really firm with the buyers on this, because they're always going to try to, put less on the table for the deal. So, now worst case scenario, if it comes down to just the only buyer that you have, and you get a small deposit one, you probably have to go with it, But if you have 2 buyers, I'd rather take $5,000 less or even 10 on a deal that the guy is willing to put a bigger deposit. See what I mean? Because
Yep.
it secures more the whole thing towards the transaction.
That
So
makes
man,
sense. It's a speed to action, basically.
yeah, exactly. And it shows, okay, you're gonna be thinking all the way from closing. If it's a small deposit, this guy can walk away anytime, and then you're in trouble. So throughout the year, I've learned for 10K. I think that's but again, not everybody wants to give it to you. You just have to push it. It's part of the negotiation process on the deal. Yeah.
Do you have
Um,
to push it to this guy, the one that's gonna buy it for 83?
I told him 7, and he said, "I'll give you the check tomorrow to the title company." So that was easy.
Dude,
I didn't have to haggle too much with it.
I mean, let me guess. This guy is maybe in his 60s or something.
No, actually, that guy is probably my age.
What?
And the reason he wants to buy that property, man, is because it's next door and he lives there and he doesn't want to deal with. They were telling me all the stories about the lady living there throughout the years. This is a hoarding situation that started with her mother back in the day. And it actually, it kept going with the sister just living in the house. I don't know how somebody was living there, so, neighbor was there basically just.
I wonder why they never sold the house.
Funny is the guy will always check the property taxes every year to make sure that she wasn't behind, and they were never behind, right? So because
No. But I don't mean that house, but their house. Like, dude, I have this hoarding issue. I'm selling this house and going to my next house. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly, yeah. So what he was saying also was like, he actually tried to talk to the lady many times throughout the years to buy from her,
Buy her
and
house.
she would always say, "No, we'll talk later." She would always look like just dismiss him, never pay attention to it. So until the other sister came and said, "Look, we gotta sell the house now, Jonathan. Can you help us?" And and so that was a really motivated lead. They was ready to go. I didn't have to negotiate much because they basically just wanted to just get rid of it.
Get
And
out.
to be honest, I think after looking at it, the house probably has to be turned down, and it's just gonna keep the lot. So if you think about it, him living next door, he was gonna pay more than anybody else because he's gonna keep it, right? Or do something, or build another house for some family members, which they mentioned that they want to have some family coming close to them. So well, then you get a lot here. You can put a house there, and then
It's
have them next door.
funny. It's funny how the lady never didn't think about that guy first to sell the house to.
Yeah, she wasn't
She didn't like
motivated.
the guy or something.
Yeah, she probably didn't.
Does she
And
know he's gonna be the buyer?
nah, no, I don't think anybody's going back to that house anyway. Like the lady that I dealt with, she said, "Look, it's depressing going back there. I am not going. I'm just
So
not gonna even.
she's
I'm
not
not
gonna
even
find out
driving by."
because you're like double closing or something, or
Yeah,
okay, that
strictly
makes
double
sense.
close. Usually, with a size, an assignment fee of this, size, you want to do the double close. I don't like double close because you just pay the closing cost twice. I just
Yeah.
typically do mostly like assignment of contracts. But in this case, you're probably gonna have to do. I already set it up for a double close transaction, so they would never know who was entitled for a day or two. That's it. So.
That's so funny, man.
Yeah, and that's a great story. I've been doing this for a while. I've seen a lot of hoarder houses, man, but nothing like that.
Wow.
I was just
So
like baffling, just watching the house from outside for like 30 minutes until the neighbor came out. He said, "Look, man, hey, dude, what are you doing?" I was like, I was still a little bit impressed. And I've seen many houses that are in bad shape, but that one was really bad.
you know what's funny?
Hmm.
I mean, no, not funny. Like I'm gonna drop another
Hmm.
lesson besides the one that you mentioned, the one that calling fast and all of that. The other story that I think is worth mentioning is how you saw gold where everybody else were seeing trash.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking, yesterday, that other guy was an idiot from the other company. He never
I
saw it.
mean,
Yeah, and then she told me yesterday, because I spoke to her more about it into details of what happened with her sister and everything. And now that we had the contract signed and everything, I said, "Well, tell me about the other company." What do you say? No, he just went by, and saw the house, spent like 10, 20 minutes in it around, just looking around. He said, no, this house has to be demolished. I'll offer you 10K. And he was kind of dismissive with her, and he didn't end up liking him. And said, well, can you do anything better than that? And he said, no, I'll only give you this. You take it or leave it. So she said, you know what? I'm not going to deal with him. Right. And then she went to
Oof.
second buyer. Right. So it was, basically, and then assess it real quick. You know, by the way, I'm not going to mention, but it was one of the big companies. I say,
Mhm.
how a big company like that can send somebody like that?
Mm.
It was plain. They plain missed the boat there,
Yeah, I
100%.
mean,
Yeah.
probably a guy could have said, yeah, I don't see it, but maybe let's do 15K. She would have
And
accepted
let me go back to you. Let's this,
it. Yeah.
because if he goes back and says, okay, I'll give you 20, she would have taken 20, by the way. So if he
I
goes back
agree.
and say he offers 10, and she said, well, can you give me 20? And they get
Mhm.
a deal into, that is a deal anyway, right? But I think he got too greedy. And I think probably he never saw the potential on it. Maybe he didn't run his numbers the way that he had to do. There is a lot of things that, sometimes, and because sometimes I do it, I just dismiss things, by not doing a little bit of extra research. And
Mhm.
maybe that was one of those. And that was
So,
in San Antonio, not a really bad neighborhood there. There are a lot of bad neighborhoods there, but that wasn't really one. That was actually a
mhm.
very decent neighborhood there.
I
So,
mean, that makes sense, right? It could
yeah,
be a piece of trash, but isn't a decent neighborhood, right? Let me ask you this, man.
sure.
What type of numbers did you run in those 5 minutes that it took you to call the lady back?
There was no one single property in the last 18 months within, I'm going to say, a quarter of a mile from the house in that specific neighborhood that sold fixer-upper asses for less than 100,000. And
Okay.
that's all I had to see. There's a lot of older houses there in that neighborhood, built in the 50s and 60s. And, they put in the MLS and they go for anywhere from like 90 to 120. Complete fixer upper. You just have to see the
Mhm.
pictures and you'll realize that, okay, this was an investment property. This was an investor that bought it,
Mm.
right? And there was nothing there. So that was the first thing.
There's something the cash buyers know about
Nothing.
the area that a lot of people don't.
Then I went to check the second thing, which was key also, and was okay. Let's say the house is a tear down, because over the phone she's telling me it has to be demolished. That's what she thinks.
Mhm.
So then you gotta look at the price of the lots, just empty
Mhm.
lots within that area, and all of the lots were like on that size, about quarter of an acre. They were selling somewhere between 40 and 75, right? So then she's telling me she sells this thing for 25. I didn't have to wait 20 minutes to call her back. I just call her, you know what? Let me get your two complete names and your two email addresses. And then that's it. Yeah.
Bro.
We were able to do all this in like less
Mhm.
than 72 hours. Um, and I've seen a lot of things, and that one was just kind of just happened to be, some people also call after, because we
Mhm.
we try to, shop her around to other people. And then some people say, oh my God, you already sold it. Yeah, it's gone,
Mhm.
you know?
Bro, let me tell you something. I've
Hmm.
been reading. Have you ever read any books from Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
Have you read Blink?
No, that one, no.
Bro, that's my first book that I
Blink.
read about the guy, Blink. Um, of course, there is like people saying that he didn't take into account all the research and all of that. Like he misinterpreted some of the research, but I don't care. Like what he says there, it makes a lot of sense. Like, what can a trained eye or an expert eye see that other people can't?
Yeah.
So that what you just
That's gold.
described
Yeah.
is exactly what happened, and at the same time, I mean, Blink is about how to use intuition to your favor, right? But at the same time, a lot of people don't have a trained eye, and they use intuition, and they screw it, like the other guy, like the 10K guy,
Yep.
right? So there has to be certain, I mean, I guess at the beginning, or like you should treat every single deal with the right seriousness. Like you said, even you sometimes haven't done enough research. But the more you find time to do that research, with time, you're not gonna miss any of those within like 30 seconds to 2 minutes of research. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
Like you're gonna know so many different variables that you're gonna be able to always catch it super fast. Sometimes on the same call, right? Sometimes, I mean, the most difficult type of research in my experience is when you have to get the information from the seller and you
Yep.
get too desperate, or you don't know how to work with a desperate, cynical, skeptical seller, and you miss the point and you don't get that information from the person.
Yep. And that's right. I mean, a lot of times you get on these phone calls, whether it's outbound or inbound, and you just have a feeling where the conversation is going, that this is a deal right there.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't discover it like in the first 5 minutes of the conversation, but then this one was different. This one within 5 minutes I kind of knew. But sometimes you gotta go 10 or 15 minutes into it, and then you say, okay, there might be something here that I could probably have to dig a little bit more into it. I'm just not gonna just throw a number here. Let me do a little bit of more research before I actually say something. And then and some other times you're like, yeah, I can give you that, because a lot of times you just really have to check the numbers.
Mhm.
The comps is what is going to tell
Yeah.
you that, on that
Yeah,
aspect.
and
Yep.
sometimes sellers are throwing smoke screens to you,
Yep.
because I mean, when I said someone may be cynical, maybe skeptical, it's
Mhm.
not necessarily because of something the investor is doing or not doing. A lot of the times it's because that's what the market and the industry created on those people. Like that, the
Yep.
experiences that they've had put them with that mindset. But if you're able to complete a full discovery call that takes you, like you said, 10, 15, 20 minutes, by the end of that call, sometimes you put people in a collaboration mode, in a collaboration mindset, and then you set the expectations for a follow-up call in which you're going to give the offer. And by the second call, you have them all the time in a collaboration mindset, and they start telling you things that you didn't know at the beginning. You see what I'm saying? So
Yep.
it will
That's
allow
true.
you to tailor the offer a lot more. And that's the reason we sent you, I don't know if you already saw it, but we sent you yesterday the official Hesel Media discovery script, because
Yep.
that's the intention of that script, being able to treat every single lead the same so that you can like work with more motivated sellers. It's not like you're not
Yep.
working with motivated sellers, man. 2 deals on Sunday, and you also told me that you got 2 more, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
it.
good.
Right on.
It's
That
good,
the
but I wanted to mention it again. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just so we can move to the second one real quick. Probably won't make it that
Mhm.
long, but so second one that came on Sunday morning actually was one of the first two hot leads from Sunday. The guy couldn't talk during the day, so that one I just actually let it go until Monday, right? So because I was so focused on Sunday night on the other one, right? So I got it done. So then on Monday, my guy ended up calling that other lead. Tim is his name, and he giving some pictures and said, look, can you give us some pictures? So he went ahead and sent some pictures, right? He said, well, it's 10 acres of land here in San Antonio. And that happened. He talked to my guy Monday morning around 10. I was already driving to San Antonio to see this other house, the hoarder house. And I listened to a little bit of the conversation, and I read some of the text, and something told me I gotta get on the phone with him. I'm not gonna call him later. I'm gonna call him right now.
Mhm.
Um, then talk to him. I said, look, hey, tell me what's going on. He told me a little bit of the situation. Hey, Jonathan, you know what? I'm dealing with this other company. I try to reach them. They never get back to me. Okay. Well, if you reach out to me, team, you're gonna get a call back from me for sure, right? So
Mhm.
I just told him that I was serious, and I said, look, I can be this afternoon in your house if you want. I'm actually going to San Antonio. He gave me a little bit of pushback. It was one of those sellers that, oh, you know what? The house is not clean. I got boxes all around. And I said, man, the house, I'm going to show you videos of the house that I'm just about to see. So, and I'm expecting that to be in a much worse condition. Okay. and you'll see the picture that I take in the videos. I'm already expecting to be really bad. Your house is going to be nothing like that. So don't worry about it. Just wait for me. Give me the appointment. Let me go and take a look at it this afternoon. I had to push for that. Okay, because in his voice, I just felt that he was really motivated. He said, look, I got 10 acres of land here. I live in a manufactured home here. This was an inheritance. I own nothing. I need to move. Property taxes are too much. I need to downsize and get out. Can you help me out? And he said, let me come out this afternoon, and we'll just talk. I won't pressure or anything. Let me just, meet face to face. I'll take a look at the 10 acres. I'll take a look at everything. Let me just help you out. We didn't talk about numbers. We didn't talk about anything. I just said, let me come out. And he said, okay, what time can you be here? So we, kind of schedule it. Okay, let's come at 2 p.m. I call him 30 minutes before. Say, are you still coming? Yeah, I'm coming, man. If I'm going to say I'm coming, right? So nicest guy in the world. We met. We talked for like 3 hours.
What?
Yeah, we talked like for 3 hours. A lot of things he was going personally. He went through a divorce a few years back. He told me, Jonathan, you see these 10 acres. This is where my mom used to live in this home here. And then you see the other side of the lot. That's where I used to live with my wife there, like 10 years ago. Then my mother died. He left me these 10 acres. Gold mine, right? It's not that much outside of the city of San Antonio. It's not rural. It's actually a very good, part of town. And you see all these places that they have 5 acres, 7 acres, 10 acres. He has 10 acres with 3 septics already. That means that you can put 200 manufactured homes here. And I said, okay. I just said, after, talking to him for okay, what would it take to get this done? I know you need my help, right? And this is after talking to him for a while, not about numbers, but more about the things that he needed help with. And because I was kind of taking my videos and my pictures, and he thought I was leaving. And he told me, okay, well, are you going to call me back tomorrow or something like that? And I said, no. We can talk numbers here right now. So he said, well, what would work for you? Okay, I just kind of put it like that. I already knew he wanted 230 because that's what he put on the form, right? So I talked to one of my guys and, we look at the comps because I didn't have an idea what was worth it. But then we look at the comps again for acres for like that amount, and nothing selling less than 300. Okay, for like that amount of acres, one property. So he said, okay, you know what? I'll he couldn't get I couldn't get the number out of him. He already put the form. So you know what? I'm gonna help you out. I'll offer you 210. Okay. And then he said, can you do 230? Okay. And I said, okay, let me make a couple of phone calls. I went outside. This is part of what you do negotiation face to face a lot. The seller gives you a number, you give them one, you can just walk away and they let me go outside, let me call somebody, my partner or somebody helping me run the comms, see if we can do that, and then I can come back. So I went and did that. I actually went away from the house, looked at the lot, took some videos, and I said, I came back in, right? And I said, okay, why don't we do this? Okay. Why don't we put in the contract that I can give you between 210 and 230? See, I know this property is worth more than that already. Okay. This property, I can give you probably more than the 210. So let's put in the contract 210 to 230. Okay. And then when you say that, everybody's going to think, well, what number you're going to get? Well, the lower number. So I told him that. I said, look, if I tell you 210 to 230, you're probably going to think at the end, I'm going to give you 210. Right. So I want to try to be fair with you. Okay. I did have to do a little bit of research on the house, do the survey, all this other stuff, see if I can subdivide the lot. And then that's when we start talking more about it. It used to be 5 acres only, but then they combine it 5 and 5, it's 10 total. So we got into the conversation of that. And what I wanted to get to is, look, if you let me to go this property in the open market, right, I can see if I can give you the 230, right? I was playing the innovation play there, okay? Since you start in the open market, because a property like that is probably going to be, worth more for somebody in the open market. So he agreed on it. He didn't give me any pushback on that. Yeah, let's do it. And I said, look, it will still be at my discretion. Okay. And I put that on the contract that I will decide what is the final number, but I will try to be fair with you. Right. And he said, came back to the other thing, can you give me 30 days? I don't have money to move. I said, absolutely. I give you 30 days. We just do a rent. I'm not going to do a rent back. We just do, $10,000 on escrow on the title company. And, once you move, you get the 10K, right? And I'll help you with, some of the moving and that kind of stuff. So he said, oh my God, we're going to do this today. I said, yeah, absolutely. So we signed the deal, after 3 hours. And he still wanted to talk about some other things. And I was trying to get him to, okay, let's finalize the agreement and then we can keep talking. So I end up walking away from that appointment with a contract in hand, signed, right? For 210 to 230. And then we did a little bit of more research yesterday. We think we can get close to either $350 or $400,000 for that lot there. We got it for 210. Okay. So we may end up just closing on it. So those could be big numbers. We don't know yet. We're going to do a little bit of more research on it. We may just take on it. We've been thinking about maybe subdivide the lot into 2 parcels because that's how it originally was used to be, 5 and 5 acres. And now it's 10 total. They did it. They combine it so they don't pay that much in taxes. But there is a lot of play. We're going back there out tomorrow with the drone guy and everything and the surveyor. And we're bringing an agent as well. Yeah. So
And that was
we
a
had an
good
amazing deal.
tactic, bro.
Yeah.
That was a good tactic because, you don't have to go back and renegotiate if necessary to the 210.
Yeah. I've been using that on deals that I get a little bit of pushback on the price, what I want. Sometimes it's the price and they don't really want to come down on that. So because this guy was very open for me to let me help him with everything. He said, look, I'm at 210, but let's put that I can give you up to 30, right? Let me list it in the open market. Let me use MLS, I'll still pay all the closing. I'll help you move. I'll give you the 30 days. So you're going to have all the convenience with that. I'm going to help you with that. So he loved that. And that was about just basically giving him the service. This is another one that if I would have waited too long, if I would have waited like a day or two, somebody would have snatched that one out also. So I had to really push him to look, let me go, see you in person, and let's try to get agreement in place. That's what it probably did it. That could be a one call to somebody else, and somebody else would have taken it also. So it was a little bit of timing also that I was actually going there. It's about an hour and almost 2 hours from where I live, but hey, you gotta go where the deals are.
Bro, pretty amazing.
That's amazing. The last 72 hours, man. Yeah.
Pretty amazing stories. I want to congratulate you because it's not luck, is having a good source of lead of motivated sellers, of course, right? But it's also about staying in the game, getting better, understanding things that, taking longer sometimes to analyze things in order to be able to make decisions on the go like this, right? And for example, that decision that you made to go visit that person and to stay there for 3 hours was because you knew that you were not gonna, the likelihood of wasting your time was pretty low, right?
So there are some appointments, man, that you have to really, really, you never want to force anybody to do anything, okay? Because it's kind of a good feeling when you come out with, oh, they really want to do it, but I just push hard and I got it. This person was willing to work with me, okay? So it's the kind of person that anybody else that is a closer would have closing in person. So I had to leave that night there with a contract. Even though I have to do all of this preliminary, the 3-4 hours that I spent with him, right? I had to do all of that to get him to the point of let's just do it, right?
Exactly.
So, and then at the end, he asked me a lot of questions, okay? And this is when you get thrown out questions here but if you are the expert, you gotta talk to him in a way that you know what you're talking about, right? And then he was asking a specific good questions about closing, about when does he get the money, what happens with the 30 days. And you got to take the people, especially in this situation. He's by himself. He's by himself. And he said, look, Jonathan, even when I go to closing and you give me the 30 days, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to get all this stuff out of here. How would I do? So I said, look, let's go through it. Right. So I told him, look, let's get you movers. There'll be people that will come here and help you packing and move the stuff. Right. So they come for you. You just tell them what to do and they do it for you. It's hands off from you. Right. So I said, you know what? It makes sense. Right. I can do that. Yes, like you will never get out of here in 30 days if you try to do this by yourself. I can tell you that. You'll be here 2 months. But you gotta just take him through the process. And I said, look, just vision yourself, because he wants to really just go to a small apartment. He said, I don't need this, man. It's just too much. So he said, okay, vision yourself being in the apartment in the next, in 60 or 90 days from now, and you're in a new place, your car is parked outside, you got your things in a storage that you want. You gotta take people through that, right? So they understand. Before I got there, he was just overwhelmed. He said, like, let me help you out. Let's not even talk about the property first. So that was part of the conversation also at the beginning that actually led me to tell him, okay, work with me and I show you the path here, right? He was asking, when do I get money? What do I do? So I went through it. I said, look, title company would give you the money. Do I get a check? They said, you get a wire, right? So all of those things took him through it because he's a very analytical guy also. So with those people, you have to take them step by step on the things. You got to be patient with it, right? You got to be patient. And that's how you win them. That's how you really win them.
You were pretty
At the
patient.
end. Yeah.
Let me ask you one last question about this
Sure.
guy. I think it also it's also related to the previous one, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned several times that you listened to your tone of voice and you knew they were ready to go.
Yeah.
But can you elaborate more on how do you figure out the readiness of a seller?
When people tells you, sentences like, I'm going to tell you, what I have here going on, and then let me know if you can help me. Okay. So when they tell you things like that or phrases similar to that, you kind of, okay, they're opening the door to you for you to come in. It's still going to be, down to the numbers and the offer and all of that. But then somebody, with experience can, okay, you know what, this is not only going to be about getting the deal done, but how we're going to do it, right? And then get them in a position, well, you know what, they will feel comfortable working with you. Okay, you are here just the helper, right? Right. And this is business. They understand. And I tell a lot of people also, Carlos, I tell most of the people that I go to, I say, look, we're in the business of making money. Also, we're real estate investors. I'm very upfront with that, right? What I offer you is convenience. I offer you help. I offer you a transition, right? A smooth transition, right? And sometimes you will talk to a lot of people that are just salesy. They just try to sell you something and come out here like, okay, we're the best company. I said, no, I even tell them sometimes, look, if I'm gonna assign this thing, I'm gonna actually assign this thing. I'm not gonna be the end buyer. It's gonna be somebody else. But I'll make sure that I'll stay on the deal all the way to closing with you, right? And that actually works better, right? So this guy is telling me, okay, what are you gonna do, Jonathan? Are you gonna come here? I said, look, man, you will see me working here. So you'll see me here back this week here. I already knew we had to do some things with this house. So we're going back there tomorrow. So he said, look, remember I told you on Monday that I'm gonna be back this week here and I'm gonna work here to make sure everything goes well. I'm back there tomorrow at 11 a.m. So we're gonna be working, right? And then just help us out, give us access to the property and give us access to the complete lot. And then they will be in business, right? Oh man, great. Yeah. And he said, look, I sleep during the day because I work during the night, man. But I'll be up. I'll let you guys in, no problem, man. So, in other words, to answer your question, is just you just get a few things from what they are saying and the way they started the conversation. That is, okay, they are not really only looking for an offer; they are looking for help. And then from there, you really have to differentiate with other people because, like this other company that he was talking to, man, I was trying hard to get a hold of them on the phone. They never called me back, and he was like a few weeks trying to talk to them. And I said, well, man,
so
they probably not here.
the 210 to 30 guy had another offer?
he was talking to another company. And
Wow.
then at the end, he was also talking to other realtors also. This all came at the end. And then he was like, oh man, I don't know what I tell the realtors. And I said, all you have to tell them is you sold the property. You can tell them my name, right? Sold the property to Jonathan. He's going to help me out and you don't need them because you didn't sign a contract with them. So he was kind of like, because they came and they gave him a price, okay, on what kind of they could get for them in the open market. But they told him it's not a guarantee. You're going to have to, play with the market, what that brings, blah, blah, blah. So it's not like a guarantee deal. And I said, look, at this price that I'm getting it for you is a guarantee deal. And I will help you with the 30 days and I will help you relocate. How sounds that? He said, oh man, that just saves my day. That's kind of what I want to hear. So you take the conversation to that end of things, right? And sometimes you just take you hours to talk to them for a while to get them to like really trust you and talk to you until they decide, you know what? Yeah, I should work with him. And you get many deals like that, but that's a deal that you would any other day, like if I would have walked out of there, I would have never got the contract on another appointment. I had to get it that day because he was like ready to go. That's a lead from you guys.
Bro,
Motivated.
let me wrap up this right now by saying, first, congratulations one more time.
I get.
Second, and I mean this, you're a very important part of our network, of our Hesel Media network, right? And what you just did today, this amount of value that you gave to anyone listening to this success call, bro, this was a masterclass on working with motivated sellers. So I really want to thank you for what you just did. And man, looking forward to many more profitable deals with you, man.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. I've been seeing, I was, looking at the dates when I started. I've been more than a year with you guys already. I was started in October 2023. And I don't get too much into the meetings every Wednesday. Sometimes I like just speaking because I'm like busy, right? And it was funny, earlier today we couldn't just get it, when the other people was there. But yeah, happy to share, my story. Happy to share any other deals that I get, and let's everybody keep going.
Awesome, bro. Absolutely. Let's pause this real quick, and I have
Yeah.
one more question for you. Okay.
Sure.